good evening, and welcome to Tea Time.
Everybody, welcome to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me. That's right, it's Monday night. It's 8 o'clock. It is February 7th, 2022. I'm going to talk about my weekend really quick and then get to my guest. Friday night, I did nothing. I just chilled, and I'm still nursing that sty in my eye. I went back to the doctor, and I have to go back to him in 10 days. Hopefully, it's going to get better. It is getting better. It's just like, a lot of makeup going on. And Saturday, what I do, Saturday night, I went to Coaster's Tavern in East Meadow because Tinsley and Scalisi had a comedy night there, and I went to go support my friends and laugh together. And it was a fun night. It was really, really nice. Some people showed up who I haven't seen in a really long time, and it was nice seeing them. And yesterday we went to Bayshore because it was my daughter's boyfriend's 25th birthday, so happy birthday, Stephen LaRose. It was nice to be with family. Food and family, they just go together. It's just such a great combination. So it was a nice, lovely day yesterday. So listen, I want to get to my guest. His name is Kent Casper. He's an actor, comedian, coach, mentor. He does so much more, and we're going to get into it with him. So please, welcome to the show. Hello, Kent Casper. How are you this evening?
Hi, Teresa. It's nice to hear an accent that sounds similar to mine.
Well, listen, you're a nice Jewish boy from Fresh Meadows, Queens, right?
Well, wait a minute. I got left back from Hebrew school. On my final exam, I got a 16 out of 100.
You did.
Out of Hebrew school. And I had to wind up getting a tutor. So my bar mitzvah, I faked it. I sound like a cappuccino machine. And that was it. So, yeah, I'm a Hebrew school dropout.
So, and you went to Franny Lou High School, Francis Lewis High School, right? And then after that, that's when you went to Stony Brook?
Yeah, but I have to find out if you're really from Long Island. I have to ask you the question that Queens people say to Long Island people.
I'm originally from Bayside, Queens.
Oh, Bayside. What's your diner? What diner?
What diner? We used to go to, we used to go to the Seville, but that closed down.
But I love the Seville. You can watch your desserts go around that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, for your viewers, that's what Queens people say to each other. What diner do you go to?
What diner do you go to, right?
Everything you need to know.
Right, or what time are you going to be at White Castle's?
Oh, White Castle. You remember White Castle? It used to be it was the only place in the world where I felt like I was eating at a urinal, okay?
It's still there. It's still on Bell.
Bell, it is. You know how much it was when I was there?
It's still there on Bell and Northern.
8 cents a piece. Fries were 15. A shake was 20. You ate until you were completely nauseous, and then when you threw up, that's when you left.
Yeah, right? So you go to Stony Brook. Did your parents want you to become a nice lawyer as a profession?
No, my father was a very handsome man. I mean, he looked like Cary Grant. He looked like Gregory Peck. He looked like Joe DiMaggio. But he drove a tractor trailer because, his father walked out on him and he had to take care of his sisters. So he was very frustrated his whole life that he always had aspirations of doing other things. And I think I channeled the lawyer thing through him. He always wanted to be a lawyer.
Right.
And I kept hearing that as a kid. And I only wanted to be three things as a kid. I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to be a baseball player, and I wanted to be a comedian. And there was no other three things. So I did the lawyer thing first, I think, because I guess he didn't. and it felt as if I was living his dream, I guess.
So what did your parents say when you said, "Hey, I want to do stand-up comedy"?
Yeah. Well, my mom passed away when I was 12, and she was 42, so unfortunately she wasn't
Oh,
around.
she was young.
Well, I graduated college. My last year or two, I was doing stand-up at Stony Brook, and anytime there was a crowd of more than one person, I said, "Can I get up and do stuff?" So by the time I graduated, I went, let me do some stand-up in New York as opposed to go right to law school. So I started doing comedy in the Catskills. I was a waiter and a busboy at the Concord Hotel, so I used to do the talent shows, and I would get booed. People would throw tomatoes at me. I mean, it was horrific. But I just said, I don't know. Even under such terrible circumstances, something felt okay about doing it. So I said, I'm going to put off law school for a while. Moved into the city, Chelsea, 331 West 21st.
Uh-huh.
Started doing stand-up while I was a host at a restaurant called Giggles. I may have been the worst host on the planet. People would come in, and I would go, they would go two, and I would go, see that table? 25 feet, take a right and sit down.
So you did stand up while you were in college, and you know, and then from 78 to 82, you did something really unconventional, and you became a street comic. When you think about it, almost like a street performer, and you used to perform on Columbus Avenue and Central Park. You made some money, and you had pretty big crowds.
Yeah, I passed all the comedy clubs. What happens is when you're new, you go to the clubs and you get like 2 minutes and they pass you. So I passed all of them. Seinfeld actually passed me at one club. Larry David passed me at another. But once you pass, you basically sit in the back of the comedy club until 3 o'clock in the morning, and 95% of the time you don't even get on.
Yep.
So I did that for a few months, and it was very frustrating. I went, how am I ever going to learn this craft by sitting in the back? It was so upsetting. I would get there early and see the crowd, and then it would drizzle down to nobody, and I still wouldn't get on. So I said, there's got to be a better way. So there were a couple of great street comedians back then. There was Charlie Barnett, who was literally the Richard Pryor of the streets. He was brilliant. There was Rick Aviles, who played the bad guy in Ghosts.
Yeah.
And there was Stan Rifkin. And Rifkin worked, what's the park around NYU? The big park by NYU. Barnett worked there also.
Mm-hmm.
And Aviles worked Subways. So I started watching these guys going, I don't think I'm a Subway guy.
Right.
I don't think I'm gonna do the park. So I said, where are my people? Where can I go to do this? So I started doing it at the pond at Central Park.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I started doing it on Upper West Side, 83rd New York, and it was heaven because the people were cool. They were yuppies.
Yeah.
I went from no sets a night to doing 8 to 12 sets a night on Columbus Avenue, a couple of sets during the day. I was doing 15 sets a night in the summertime. I developed more in 2 years on the street than I would have taken me 10 years in clubs, and I was making money.
I think it was a genius call. I mean, I not that would ever cross my mind, but when I first started out in the early 90s, yeah, you were going to the clubs, you were waiting around, you'd sign your sheet, and I remember one night I was just about to go up. It had to be like 1:30 in the morning or something like that. I think it was at the comic strip, and Chris Rock walked in, so I got bumped. And I was like, I'm not going up now, because I'm not going up after Chris Rock.
Well, you always get bumped. But what happened was I made the street like I would chase buses, I would chase taxis, I would get involved with homeless people. I literally used the whole block as my stage.
Yes.
And I met some amazing people. De Niro. I met De Niro. He told me he was actually studying me when he was working on King of Comedy.
Really?
I met Joseph Papp and his wife, the late Joe Papp and Gail Merrifield. They auditioned me. Ready for this?
Uh-huh.
They brought me in to read for Pirates of Penzance because Kevin Kline was leaving.
Right.
Well, I don't sing and I don't dance. So I had the audition. It was the worst audition on planet Earth. I hired someone to teach me to sing, to dance.
Yeah.
It was absurd. He started laughing how absurd it was. I'm going to replace Kevin Kline?
Right.
Dance man? I met Jackie Mason. I met so many wonderful people, and I was making $200 a night. 35
That's not.
years
Let me
ago.
tell you, that's not shabby for back then. Let me tell you.
in quarters. I always had enough money for laundry.
Well, you did comedy for like 14 years, and you worked with some major hitters. You worked with Dave Chappelle and Martin Lawrence actually opened for you. Okay, then Chris
Well,
Rock.
let me tell you the story about Dave. I was working at Garvin's Comedy Club in Washington, and the owner came over to me and said, "Hey, we got a local kid. Do you mind if he gets up and does a few minutes?" I didn't ask who it is. I said, "No, it's fine. He's nice." He goes, "He's really good." I said, "Okay." So I don't think twice. The kid's on, and I'm outside the room, and I'm hearing the place crack up like priors in there. I'm going, "Who is this?"
Right.
A local kid. It was Chappelle. He was like 16 years old.
Wow.
He's destroying the audience, and he's a local kid.
Amazing.
And he came over to me, said, "Sir, thanks very much." I said, "You were amazing." Martin Lawrence, he was my middle act at Chuckles in Long Island.
Chris Rock too, right? Chris middled for you?
No, Chris was my middle act at Chuckles. I headlined many times, a couple times.
You
with
actually
Foxworthy.
you co-headlined with Ray Romano, Brian Regan, and Jeff Foxworthy.
Yeah, there was a circuit there. None of us were famous. We were all going out for a couple of $100 on a weekend. We'd share the same car.
Yeah.
Foxworthy was a wonderfully nice man. Romano, very, very nice man.
Yeah.
Reagan.
Yeah.
3 of the nicest men on the planet, and 3 absolutely comedic geniuses. And they were as nice as they seem.
Well,
Totally nice.
did you and Ray talk about Queens? Because he grew up in Queens too.
You know what happened? We'd get into a car. You know how it works. The low man in the totem pole drives us. We
Yeah.
meet at the Improv.
Yeah.
And the low man drives us home. We give him $5, and that's it. So most of the time, I wasn't in the same car with these guys because they were headlining and I was headlining.
Right.
And I worked also a bunch of times with Crazy Lenny Schultz.
Wow. It's amazing.
Ready for this? Crazy Lenny was my gym teacher in high school.
What? Really?
Yes, he was my gym teacher.
And Franny Lou?
Yes, Francis Lewis. He was my gym teacher.
Wow.
And I wound
never
up
knew that.
working with him. And thank God I didn't have to follow him. I middled him. Nobody on the planet Earth
I
could
never
follow
knew that.
Lenny
That's
Schultz.
crazy. Well, listen, we're going to take my first break. I want everyone to stay where you are. Kent's going to stay where he is. More when we come back after this message. So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 New Bridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222.
Well, hi there, Teresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Teresa. Bye.
Some shout outs really quick to Mickey and Joe DeBarry and Monica and Linda. Thank you all for watching. Please like the show. Please share it. I'm on every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. on Channel 20 for people who live on Long Island who get Optimum. So join me on a Saturday morning. I'm here with Kent Casper. He's an actor, comedian, coach, mentor, and so much more. And we're getting into talking about where he's from and comedy and stand-up. And he's worked with Ray Romano and Brian Regan and Jeff Foxworthy, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Martin Lawrence, goes on and on and on. He's actually appeared on HBO, Showtime, Netflix, Comedy Central, A&E, MTV, VH1, E Entertainment, and he did 2 USO tours in Japan. Tell me about that, Kent.
Oh my God, that was amazing. I went with a fellow comedian named Mike Marino, and we had a ball.
I love Mike Marino. Mike's been on my show.
Oh yeah, Mike was a kind of a new comic back then. I was kind of mentoring him, even though he's my friend. And we took off, and we performed in Kobe. We performed in Osaka. It was military bases,
Yeah.
and we literally went from base to base to base performing for the troops. And it was kind of interesting because military people are really cool. We went out with them at night. And I'll tell you a very funny story. One of the military guys took me to a bar one night. Back then, the bars didn't close. It was 24/7. And this Japanese girl comes over and starts speaking Japanese. I said to the military guy, "What did she say?" He says, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "Tell me." He goes, "She's here for a bachelorette party with 15 of her friends. And you're tall and bald, which is a sign of wealth and power. They all want to come over." Ready for this? They all want to come over and rub the top of your head for good luck. So I went to the middle of the dance floor and I said to my friend, "If I'm dreaming, I'll kill you if you wake me up." They lined up to rub the top of my head, and one girl goes, I'll never forget, she goes, "Oh my God, you tall like building, you like skyscraper." So 15 Japanese girls rubbed the top of my head for good luck.
Wow. And working with Mike is great. He's great. He's very, very funny. He's a good friend too. I love him also. It's nice that you have all these, wonderful memories from back then.
I actually hired Mike his first gig, and when I moved out to LA, we worked at Whittier. Whittier Law School hired us, and Mike had never done stand-up, and
Right.
he bombed. He bombed bad, but who doesn't bomb? and he almost gave it up after the Whittier thing. But yeah, he's a fabulous comedian. He's a workaholic. He's out there just banging it away.
Yeah. Make America Italian again is his slogan.
Yeah.
That's his little hook. So tell me, before you got into, because you really did transition from comedy, you actually went to law school in 82, and in 85 you were the New York City District Attorney?
Yeah, let me tell you, I applied to, after 4 years of stand-up, I had a close call with Joe Papp, working with Joe on a wing of he was going to do a one-man show. It didn't happen. It kind of broke my heart. So I said, let me become a lawyer by 29. I don't know. I was like 25 at the time. I said, let me do the lawyer thing.
Okay.
So I started applying to law schools. I already had a master's degree, by the way. I went to New York Tech, which is the graduate school equivalent to San Quentin Penitentiary, quite frankly, okay? I got a master's degree in, I don't know what I got it in, but it was a master's degree. It sounded good. So I applied to law school. I said, what kind of law school should I apply to? Kind of be average. I'm not going to get into great ones. So I applied to Howard, H-O-W, and I went, it sounds like Harvard. If I get into Howard, I go to Howard, and they go to Harvard? Yeah, go to Howard. So I said, that's a dirty trick to do that.
Yeah.
So I got accepted to Howard, but I didn't do that. I applied to Pepperdine. When you get the brochure, it looks like Club Med sent you something, Pepperdine.
Okay.
And I'm applying, and the essay I'm writing as a Christian. So my ex-wife said at the time, "You're not Catholic. This is a Jesuit university." I said, "Well, for this essay, I'm Christian, okay?" So then I got smart, and I applied to Thurgood Marshall School of Law, an all-black law school, and me. And I went, I think I can get a minority scholarship.
Wow.
So I applied to Thurgood Marshall School of Law in Houston, Texas.
Uh-huh.
And I got a minority scholarship because it was 99% black, 4 Hispanics, and 2 Jews.
Okay. Wow. And how
And
many times did you take the bar before you passed?
I'll get to that in a second. I'll get
Okay.
to that. So I was down there, and every second I was being called a Yankee. I went, do I look like a baseball player? Go home, Yankee. Go home, Yankee. Then I got a job at the Wacken Hut Security Company, where I was a nighttime. I got fired 16 times from every single post I was on for sleeping. For one time during a shift, a truck was stolen. Another time I fell asleep. Another time I was guarding a hotel and I had a date, and we were in a honeymoon suite doing you know what. I may have been the worst security guard on the planet Earth. 16 times, Teresa, I got fired from posts.
Well, you knew that wasn't the profession for you.
But you know what? I interned at the Houston DA's office. A DA took me under his wing, and I was literally third chairing capital murder cases in law school, sitting there watching.
Wow.
In Texas, they hang you for jaywalking, okay? They'll give you the gas for jaywalking. So I thought to myself, I'll apply to being a DA in Texas. So I applied to Dallas DA, and I was warned, don't make fun of his name. If you make fun of his name, you're never going to get it. You know what his name was?
No.
Jerry Lewis.
Really?
How am I not going to make fun of a DA named Jerry Lewis?
Wow. Well, I'm sure
So I
he
didn't
was. I'm sure he was used to comments. That's for sure.
Well, I didn't get that job. Houston was like, go home, New York Jewish boy. So I applied to Queens. I applied to Brooklyn. I applied to Nassau. I applied to Suffolk. Remember, not that great a school, not great grades. I'm up against Stanford, Harvard, Princeton, Yale. How the hell am I going to get this job? And I went, I'm going to use my background as stand-up.
Okay.
I'm going to be the only person applying like I'm applying for a show. So I sent them a 8-minute comedy demo tape.
Wow.
I sent them a resume. It's as if I was applying for an evening at the Improv.
Yeah, at Caroline's. Right.
Yeah. So what happens is you have to go through like 5 interviews. So I went to Queens. They knocked me off after 2. I went to Nassau. They knocked me off after 3. Manhattan knocked me off after 3. Brooklyn, 4th. I almost had 4th, and they knocked me off. So my last hope was the 5th one was the Bronx DA.
Okay.
The last one. Now, you know anything about the Bronx DA? It's the only place in the world where the jury's more dangerous than the defendant. Okay? So my 5th interview, they said, do you think you're funny, sir? I said, well, yeah. I mean, I've been a professional comedian for 4 years, and I think personally. He goes, you have 3 minutes. Make us laugh.
Okay.
I had 180 seconds to get up there and get the job. I jumped up on the table. Remember, I'm 6'4", 290. I jumped up on the table, threw off my jacket. They didn't know I was doing stand-up during the day, at nighttime.
Right.
I did 3 minutes of stand-up. 2 weeks later, we'd like to welcome you as an assistant DA in the Bronx.
That's great. So you were a DA by day and a stand-up comic by night.
What's funny, yeah, I like that you said that, because all the news shows, I milked that to no end. WPIX did a news show, DA by day, comedian at night. Channel 5 did a DA by, I milked that to no end. You would have thought I couldn't squeeze any more lemons out of that DA by day.
Right.
I mean,
You ran with it.
it was my hook. It was my hook.
You have to have a hook. That was your hook. It worked.
Man, looking back, I probably should have had a different hook, but I milked that hook. There wasn't any juice in that orange after I milked that one.
Jeez. So then when did you transition then into acting? And you've been doing that acting for 30 years. And wait, real quick before you answer that, when did you move to LA? When did you move to California?
Well, I was having a good time in the DA's office. I worked with a bunch of good guys. One guy became a judge, Judge Sachs. Another, Gordy Fine. It was like 10 of us in a room, and we were DAs. And all of a sudden, we went from lowly law students to policemen going, Counselor, may I speak to you? Counselor, may I speak to you? And I was in charge of the badges. I said, can I get the badges? So I got the badges. I came back with 44 beautiful badges, a shield. I love the shield.
Yeah.
Gave back. I was home in the mirror practicing going, ADA Casper with a badge. I love the badge, right? So, and I was doing a lower level misdemeanors. I actually prosecuted a prostitute. And after she got out, I took her to dinner.
Okay. All right.
That's my definition of time served. I mean, I also made a big mistake. It's something called the chain of custody. When there's a weapon involved, you never go get it yourself. The weapons, the police people bring it over in a lockbox. I didn't know.
Right.
I went to get the gun myself.
Oh.
All the DA said, you just broke the chain of custody. You now have to be a witness in your own trial. So I was a laughing stock for like a month going, Casper has to be a witness in his own trial because he went to get the gun.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. That is crazy. So when did you move to California? When did you move to, to pursue acting?
Well, in '85, I got booted from the DA's office because I failed the New York bar exam twice. You get 2 times.
Okay.
And I'm a horrible test taker. LSAT's bad, SAT's bad. I mean, I always was a terrible test taker.
Yeah.
So I failed the bar exam twice, and it was upsetting because I thought maybe I'd stay in the office longer. But I said, all right, I'm still going to continue to take the bar exam in different states. Long story short, I got booted out of the office. So from 85 to 92, I continued to do stand-up, but I continued to take bar exams.
Okay.
So I took 12 more bar exams.
12.
I took it in Jersey. I took it in Maryland. I took it so many times when I went to the proctor would say, Kent, you have a chair with your name on it.
So where did you finally pass it?
I didn't pass 14 times. I never passed.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
But here's the weird thing. Sometimes I ask myself, it had to be karma. Why? I have a Juris Doctor degree. I went to law school.
Right.
I have a master's degree.
Right.
I have a college degree. I'm
Right.
not a stupid guy.
No.
I think it was the universe saying, if you pass this exam, your life's going to go in a way that you don't want it to go. It would have. I would have become a defense attorney, which is fine. I would have become a judge, but my life would have been a complete different life if I passed. So I
Right.
think the universe was not letting me pass.
It's amazing. It's amazing, the journey that you were on and the twists and turns along the way. And speaking about the universe is telling me we're going to take my next break. So everyone stay where you are. More with Kent when we come back. Don't go away. So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 New Bridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222.
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Teresa Canastraci Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Teresa on Facebook, Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love it.
But you can ask me about my
Hey,
marriage.
everybody. Welcome back to Tea Time. I want to thank Sal the Voice Valentinetti for those beautiful, kind words. You know, he actually got engaged over Christmas. He put a ring on it, and I'm hoping to have him on the show. Thank you to John York from General Hospital for the kind words before, because I forgot to mention something after the break. Anyway, I'm here with Kent Casper. He's an actor, comedian, coach, mentor. We're talking about this wild ride of a career he's been on, from doing, stand-up comedy when he was in college, then going to law school, then he had moved to LA, and he's been doing acting for like the last 30 years. Kent, you've been in movies. You've been in City Slickers 2, Apollo 13, Space Jam, Rush Hour 3. As far as TV goes, you were on Saved by the Bell, Monk, Mad Men, Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, Late Night with Conan O'Brien. It's nice. You got like a nice resume going on here.
Yeah. Oh, I've been cut out of a bunch of shows. As you know, you can get edited out. I was in Husbands and Wives with Woody Allen. I played his Uncle Rifkin. I was actually directed by him. It was a great audition. You actually auditioned for him. He talked to you. It was at Columbia. I was excited. It was a nice scene. I was his Uncle Rifkin. It got cut because of this whole controversy with him.
Right.
So that's it. I was in I was in the first Space Jam. I played the team doctor, a nice scene with Amar Rashad. Cut. I was in Ghosts. I played Swayze's friend. Cut.
Yes.
For a while, I kept going, maybe I should change my name to Kent Cut Me Out.
I know it's sad because when you do the work, you get paid, you get the IMDb credit, which is lovely, and then you go and watch it and you're like, what happened? And a lot of the times you can end up on the editing floor.
Yeah, but you know what happens? This is the dirty trick. You get cut out, then IMDb, you know what it says? It says uncredited.
Uncredited.
I auditioned. I book it. I shot it. It's not uncredited, but
No.
because they cut you out,
I know.
it looks like your background.
Yes.
I'll tell you what brought me to LA. By 92, the comedy circuit was fading. For many years, there was a gig at an ice skating rink one night, a gig at a movie theater the next night, a gig at a supermarket. I was doing 7 nights a week for years.
Wow.
By 92, my 5 shows a weekend started to become 2. My weekdays came from 5 to 1. I went, I'm losing money. I mean, if I continue to stay here, and I was involved in a bad marriage. I married an Irish woman, and absolute true story. At our wedding, we had a rabbi and a priest. She just said, I just want a rabbi, a priest. I said, nope, I got to have a rabbi. So we hired a rabbi and a priest. Not easy to get a dueling rabbi and priest.
My sister
You were
did.
able to-
My sister had a priest and a rabbi.
Well, you can tell the rabbi because he's in the corner shoving shrimp in his pocket, eating, okay? And he wants to be paid first. So they were on stage dueling each other. The rabbi would say something in Jewish, and then the priest would try to run up him. I'm going, what kind of wedding is this? Ended in divorce, 92.
Okay.
I said, you know what? If I stay in New York, I'm going to be a road comic, living out of my suitcase, continuing to take bar exams.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go to New York and do the craziest thing, LA.
LA.
And I'm going to try to make it as a character actor. So 92, I packed up a few bags and moved to North Hollywood.
Wow. And you've been there ever since?
30 years. I cannot believe it. And there's been many times over the years I thought about packing up. My first couple of years, my auditions were so bad that I said, God, I don't think I can do this. I mean, I had an audition with NYPD Blue my first year out here. I think it was so bad, they wrote on my resume, don't bring back until the earth explodes, okay? Then I had another audition for Judging Amy, okay? I was so over the top. She said to me, Kent, what's the name of the show? I said, Judging Amy. She said, then stop reading it like the name of the show is Judging the Prison Guard.
Oh my gosh. It's
I was way over the top.
It's a tough industry, but you need to supplement acting, and you are an acting. That's why I said you do much more than acting and mentoring. But you
Well, it's
are.
funny you said the word supplement. I call it a side hustle.
Okay.
You must be able to eat. You must be able to live. You must be able to pay your bills.
Right.
So a side hustle is kind of a gig in show business that brings in money. The best side hustle that I ever had was I was Dr. Phil's celebrity lookalike.
I was just going to bring that up. You beat me to it, Kent. I was just going to say you were Dr. Phil's celebrity double for 13 years. How did that happen?
18
years. How did that happen?
I don't know, like almost 20 years ago, my agent sent me on a gig. They said, there's this new host. He's tall, he's bald. They want you to imitate him. I didn't even know who he was. So I get there. Turns out the agent lied. I was there as his stand-in, not doing him. So I was really mad going, I don't want to stand in. So his people came over to me and said, would you double Dr. Phil on the show? And I went, no, I'm not interested. So they called me back a few weeks later and I said, no thanks, $100. I don't want to do it. Then I got smart. I went, there's no money in standing in, maybe a celebrity lookalike. So I contacted a shark celebrity lookalike agent.
Right.
I said,
Yeah.
can you get me some good money doubling Dr. Phil? Call his people up. Long story short, he got me 5 times what they asked. And the rest is history. I doubled him on his promos, his commercials. I even doubled him at his house. He wasn't there. His dog was following me around. I tricked Dr. Phil's dog. And get this, Teresa. So Phil comes home,
Yeah.
and the dog is ignoring Phil.
Really?
And Phil's annoyed that the dog's following me around.
That's hysterical. So you did that for 18 years. You know, that's not a bad gig. A friend of mine, David Siegel, is a George Clooney lookalike.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
he, you know, before COVID and the pandemic, he was going to Vegas and he was traveling. It was beautiful.
I'll
And
tell you
now,
one great gig.
I went to Benjamin N. Cardozo High School in Bayside,
Oh,
and
nice.
that's where he and I met. And back then, if you would have told me David Siegel was going to grow up and look like George Clooney, I would have said, "What are you smoking?" Because it's so not happening. But I'm telling you, his mother sent in, People magazine used to do this "Who do you look like" kind of thing, and she sent him because she submitted it.
I know who he is. I've seen him.
Yeah, she
He's
submitted
exactly
it,
like him.
and then it went crazy from there.
I'll tell you, the coolest gig I had as a lookalike was I had like 10 lookalike agents, and he says to me, "There's a massive party done at the University of Phoenix. The owner, who's like a billionaire in Montecito, he's hiring 20 lookalikes,
Okay.
and he has a band from the 30s, and he wants the lookalikes to walk around and mingle and dance." So I spent 4 hours mingling and dancing as Dr. Phil doing therapy. They go, "Dr. Phil, dance with me. Dr. Phil, my wife doesn't sleep with me. Dr. Phil, my cousin hates me." So I spent 5 hours running around as Dr. Phil. I got a great tip. I made a ton of money. I went, what a ridiculous gig. But
It's a
it
great
tastes so
gig,
good.
isn't it? It's a great gig. When someone looks like someone, years ago when I was in high school, someone told me I look like Charlene Tilton from, am I saying it right? Charlene Tilton from the show Dallas.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
When I graduated high school, everyone said I look like her. Then one time someone said to me, "You look like Deborah Winger." I think it's the nose. I think it's the nose.
Yeah, a little bit of winger. A little bit of winger,
You know,
yes.
I says, but to actually look like someone and get paid for it, it's kind of cool gig.
In fact, on my website, among the things that I teach, I have an area for those people who want to do lookalikes. I have a 90-minute seminar showing them how to turn that into money, because it's one thing if you look like someone, it's another thing figuring out how to make some money at it.
Right. Exactly.
But I must tell you, the lookalike community, most of them are kind of nuts. they think they're the real person, and they are kind of delusional. They're not real actors, so some of them really believe they're the real person. So I try not to mingle with a lot of them. A lot of them are kind of whack jobby.
Right. But it was a nice stint for 18 years to do the Dr. Phil gig.
Hey, I had one 2 years ago. They called me up. Dr. Phil's son is a musician, and he was doing a music video.
Yeah.
And Dr. Phil is playing an angel, but he has a bad back. So they want me to be lowered as an angel. I went, "How much?" I said, "Nope, I want double." They said no. They called me back and they go, "We'll give it to you. Come on down." So I was Dr. Phil's double 2 years ago on his son's music video.
Wow, that's cool. That's really, really cool. So you've been doing some things recently. Tell me about Lying Next to Larry.
That was a really good film. It was a film about a guy who was in an accident and
You played a quadriplegic, right?
No. You would assume I was if you asked my wife for my honeymoon, but no, that was not me. Okay.
It was the guy next to you?
Yeah, the guy next to me played a quadriplegic, and I was next to him like a yappy guy.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a cute movie, but I had to learn how to have a seizure. There was a medical person there showing me how to have a seizure. It was a really nice film. It was like 10 years ago. And
Yeah, you had like the better bed because you were closer to the window.
yeah, but my first 8 years out here, I got really lucky. I did a lot of background extra work, union for commercials. And those paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I got upgraded 19 times, which means I'm there as a background extra, but then I get upgraded and I make a ton of money in residuals. The reason why is you couldn't hide me. I'm 6'4",
Right.
290.
You're so tall.
But I used to get yelled at. Like they would say to me, "Kent, walk by with your head down." Like in other words, a normal background extra when you're sitting behind the principals, you're supposed to be eating and talking.
Right, you're supposed to be inconspicuous.
Right. This would be me when I did background work. They'd say action. I'd be in the background. I'd go like this.
Yeah. So you take
Or
the
they'd say,
focus.
walk.
Right.
Or they'd say, "Walk by and don't look at the camera." I'd walk by and look at the camera and go, "What's going on?" My theory was upgrade me or kick me off the set.
Right.
Kick me off the
right.
set or upgrade me.
I get
got
it,
upgraded
I get
19 times. 19 times.
You also did something called How I Met Your Murderer online, which is actually going to be aired on CBS.
No, that's actually a story about last week when I was on Tinder. No. No. Boy, you skipped from 1992 to today. You missed the whole middle there. Yeah, about 3 weeks ago, I got a call from my agent. He goes, "You got a direct booking." I'm going, all right, what do I got?
Okay.
He reads me the title. I went, what kind of title is this? Please don't tell me I killed my date.
Right.
He says, no, you play the father. It's a true story. Unfortunately, your daughter in the true story was a little mentally challenged. She wound up with wrong people, and she died. So it was a pretty serious thing. And it's actually a pretty serious crime story. So, I mean, the name's a little weird, but that was nice. That was nice.
And then you did 34902, which is a short, but it actually won International Media Arts Film Award in 2021.
Well, it's winning lots of awards. It's during COVID, I got an audition for a beautiful story about a concentration camp victim who falls in love with another victim. It's based upon a book called The Tattoo Artist. He was in charge of branding fellow Jewish people, and it's a beautiful book, and it was a bestseller. And I went, wow, I love this. And, it's a short story, and I couldn't resist doing it. I auditioned for it. I got there, and I went, this is special. It's winning awards all over the world for short film.
Wow.
It's one of the most beautiful projects I ever did.
Nice.
And I almost didn't do it because I almost rationalized it's COVID, it's dangerous, but it's one of the most beautiful pieces of footage I've ever done in over 30 years.
Wow. And what about Last Looks? Tell me about that.
What's the name of that one? Is that an episode? I forgot.
I don't know. It just says Last Looks. Is that part of it?
I don't remember. I've done so many small things, big things, co-stars, guest stars.
Yeah.
But when I first came out here, I mean, my biggest upgrade was on the Lending Tree commercial. I was on camera an eighth of a second. It ran for 5 years. I made $300,000.
What?
An eighth of a second. It ran for 5 years.
Now I'm thinking of like Flo from Progressive, right? Or you think of what's his name too. I mean,
they make tens of millions.
These
they
people
make tens
who
of millions.
get, I mean, that you just need. That's it.
I'll tell you my big credit, which really helped my cachet. I booked Mad Men. The show hadn't even been on the air yet.
Yeah.
I'll give you an idea how early it was. I shared a dressing room with John Hamm.
Oh wow.
He wasn't even known. The show, people went, it's going to be some dopey show in USA. Nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
And once that was on my resume, it's season 1, episode 3, Marriage of Figaro. Two nice scenes with Ham.
Uh-huh.
Once that was on my resume, I was getting a lot of stuff because that show became a hit.
Oh,
so
yeah, absolutely. That's all you need is one. Listen, we're going to take my last break. More with Kent Casper when we come back. Don't go away. Stay right where you are.
Teresa, you can bring up the coaching now.
So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 New Bridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222.
best comedian you know?
Teresa Farrell.
And who's the best actress you know?
Teresa Farrell.
And who's the best cast member in Bad Boys?
Teresa Farrell.
Who's got the best radio?
Teresa Farrell.
Stop it. Who's your favorite Jimmy?
Teresa Farrell.
Who are you loving right now?
Teresa Farrell.
All right, Chuck. I love you too, baby.
Love you as always.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm with Kent Casper. He is not only an actor, comedian, coach, and mentor, but he is also, he's a career consultant. He is an acting coach. He's an audition booking specialist. He's a mentor. He's also does branding and marketing and networking and packing expert.
Oh my God, who is that guy?
It's you, baby. You've been doing this a long time. So tell me, why did you get into this?
About 14 years ago, I was at a crossroads. You know, acting is very difficult. The late Charles Grodin said the only thing more difficult than working as an actor is selling poetry door to door. Okay, that's how difficult it is. So 14 years ago, I was at a crossroad, very frustrated. I said, what is my next move? I don't like going back. I don't want to go back to law. You know, I don't want to go back to stand up. I want to go forward.
Right.
So I said, what can I do to go forward? And I went, at that time, I said, I have 15 years of knowledge that I can teach people. Not so much the craft, but I have 15 years of getting pounded left and right, understanding all the ins and outs. I think I could package and market this. So everybody laughed and said, you're not Jason Alexander. You're not Jeff Tambor. You're never going to get anyone. So I said, yeah, watch me. I put an ad in Craigslist.
Yeah.
About a comedy thing. My first 3 students were firemen. I called up my agent. I said, are firemen worthy? He goes, yeah. They're the new heroes. Work with them, basic stuff, and we'll sign them. I said, you'll sign them? You're a top agency. We want firemen. Long story short, work with these firemen. About 2 months, got them signed with a top commercial agent. Between 3 of them, they booked 8 national commercials in 2 years.
Wow.
And they weren't even actors. They were firemen. Then I went, I'm off to the races.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Now you have this thing. You say, don't fight your type, master it. What do you mean by that?
It comes from when I first came out here, when I would audition for a doctor, I would imitate what I think a doctor is. Or when I was a judge auditioning, I would imitate a judge. And it was coming out terrible. I was trying to outact other people. And a friend of mine, comedian named Paul Lyons, said, stop trying to outact them. They're better actors than you. You're not going to outact them. But then he said something that changed my life. He said, nobody can out-Kent you. They can outact you, but they can't out-Kent you.
Right.
You take Kent in with you, and nobody is going to be able to come near it. So from that moment on, a bell went off when I went, I am the best me there is. I've mastered me through stand up through my life.
Right.
I am no longer going to be imitating. I'm going to bring me into every audition I do. And it basically is, don't fight your type. I'm a tall New York Jewish guy. I've lost jobs because I'm too tall. I've gotten jobs. I've lost jobs because of my accent. I've gotten jobs. I've lost jobs because it all washes out.
Right. It's you know, it's a crazy industry, and we've talked about rejection before the show, and how, you know, you can, you know, not get a gig because of the way you look. I didn't look Italian enough for something, or you know, and we talked about that, and you know, I'm all about at this age and this stage in my life, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm not about knocking on doors, I'm about kicking them in. I've had rejection my entire life. I've heard the word no my entire life. It does not faze me anymore.
Let me tell you something, Teresa. I look at you and I see 100 different ways to market and package you, okay? The older we get, the more marketable we get as character actors.
Listen,
I'm more
Kent,
marketable now at 65 than I was at 35.
Absolutely, and I've said I don't care if I'm 80 years old and I say, where's the beef? Or I fall in and I can't get up. Eventually, something's gonna happen. Like, my mother's like, you're gonna just do this like another year, right? And then you're gonna like stop. And I'm like, Ma, it's not a matter of if it's gonna happen. It's a matter of when. And I don't plan on giving up anytime soon.
You can't, and it's not rejection. I mean, I've been coaching 14 years. It's given me a joy and a fulfillment and a satisfaction that I never saw this in my path.
Right.
I never imagined this coming my way. And when it did, I went, I feel so blessed to have found something that helps other people, that takes, when a student of mine books something, I had one of my students, Monica, she went on her first audition today.
Yeah.
It's as if she gave birth today. I feel like a granddad. I feel like a proud dad that she went on her first audition.
Yeah.
There's such joy in just the process. And I always tell my actors, it's the journey. It's the process and the journey. It's not where you end up. You have to enjoy the journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And pinch yourself along the way. And sop up every moment.
Denzel Washington has a wonderful saying. He says, hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut.
Well, listen,
And
I want people
years.
to know how they find you, how they get you. Your website is Kent, and it's Casper with a K. .net is the website. You could also email him at kentcaspercoach@gmail.com. He's also on Facebook. He's also on Insta. It's Kent_Casper with a K.
Yeah.
On
And Facebook,
Insta.
it's Kent Casper Coach. I'm everywhere. There's
Yeah,
a balloon above
you're
your house
everywhere.
with my
You could
name
just
on it.
Google his name, he comes up. And you're talking about you have this satisfaction of giving back, and you also love giving back to one special organization that you hold close to your heart, and that's Cancer Care. Tell me why.
Yeah, well, my mom died of breast cancer at 42, and I was 12, and it ultimately affected my life, to no end. I mean, now she probably live to 95, what they know now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if I was, I wish I can do more. You know what I mean?
You know what?
It's just one of those things.
We're all affected by cancer. Every one of us, whether we've had it or know someone who's had it, someone who's recovered from it, someone who's passed from it. It's the C word that no one wants to deal with, but we all have in our
I know
lives.
my father died of it also. I mean, I always make a joke. I go, I'm not going to die of cancer. Some guy's going to drive a bus, and the driver's going to have cancer.
Well, listen, can you tell maybe like a little secret or something, and kind of like tease my audience, or for those people out there doing comedy and acting like myself, how can one go about getting an agent or a manager? How do you take your career to the next level?
Well, I mean, 80% of agents out there are pretty useless. So you want to stay away from the 80%. You want to go for the 20%. And I always tell my actors, trying to get a good agent is, if you think about it, like, let's say you're a guy and you contact me and you say, I want to meet the hottest girls on Match.com. Well, right now, what you got going, you're not going to get their attention. We have to work on you. Or let's say you came to me and said, I want to start a restaurant. I would work with you. So people come to me and I say, let's see what you have. I turn lemons into lemonade. Let's take your strengths to make them stronger.
Right.
Let's take your weaknesses and make them strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And let's package you, market you, and condense you so that top agents will say, this guy is money. This woman's the next Netflix.
Right.
This child is the next Amazon.
Right.
You have to view agents like pretty women. Everybody wants to be with them, but they only take very, very, very few. So
Yeah, it's like I want that Jerry Maguire that gives me that special attention.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell my actors, 98% of making it is mastering the business. It's 2% talent. It really is 2% talent. 98%. And this business is set up to blow you out like a wind tunnel. It's set up to be MMA wrestling, to make you quit. It's set up to go uncle. The odds are so against you that
I know.
it
I
kills
know.
people.
And I know. I wanted to go to high school performing arts. My parents told me no. They were not supportive. They're like, you're going to have to sleep with every director in order to get work. And we don't want you doing that. And I was like, you know what? Now at this age, they really can't tell me anything. You know what I mean?
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Queens College.
Okay,
I
please
majored
talk.
in communications, media, because actually I wanted to be the next Roseanne Scammerdella. I wanted to be a news reporter, anything in front of the camera, Kent. And then I minored in acting. So, but I didn't like the core classes. I hated them. They drove me nuts. But listen, I just want everyone to check you out. Google him. It's Kent Casper, Kasper. Go to kentcasper.net. We ran out of time. This goes so fast. Love to have you back. You stay right there. Everyone else, have a great week. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you so much, Teresa. It's
You're
been
so
great
welcome,
great to
Kent.
talk to you.
All right. Ciao, everybody.
It's okay.